Billy, what do we got today? This is unbelievable, incredible. We're in the Wingfoot locker room.
And we're on the poker table too, by the way.
Oh, yes.
You're touching all the bases, boys.
We're on the poker table. You can see the poker table, but we
Horses,
won't do everything.
poker. Our special guest is Chris Mara, who has an extensive knowledge of both winning and losing money at the racetrack with horses and any other side bets, split pots and everything else. Been following the horses as long as I've known him. I think he caught the habit from his father, as did I. And I don't know how many Belmont Stakes we've been to together. We'll go to this one again. Probably 10 or 12 of them, including the day my youngest daughter was born, much to the chagrin of Chris's mom, who looked at me like, what the hell's the matter with you? But it was the Belmont. That was the year of Lemon Drop Kid.
Well, wait
this year, there's no Lemon
Hold on, Billy.
Drop Kid.
Your mother had a few children. Did your father have the occasion of being at a track when one of you, when she was in labor? This could have happened by accident.
No, but I will say this.
Maybe it was you.
I will say this. My dad used to go to the Derby every year, and there was a lot of first communions on the first Saturday in May that he missed.
I suppose he can be okayed for that. But he never missed a birth because of
no, he never.
$2.
He might have missed one on a scouting trip, but way back when.
Well, that's work.
I wonder if it ever crossed his mind to maybe switch to Lutheran or something.
Well, we had one service, and you can miss a lot.
I know one thing: the rhythm method didn't work. We had 11 kids. So
lucky you.
Best 36 holes in golf.
You tuned in to Alternate Shots Podcast,
Marnie's Army,
where we talk about golf,
Marquis, Sandy's,
poker,
Bond, James Bond,
horse racing.
I'm all in.
Great movies.
Alfred Hitchcock.
We have no script.
And down the stretch they come.
We're glad you joined us.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Whoop. Let's start again.
Carson's Run is a real gentle teddy bear compared to Keen Ice. So there's different spectrums of horses. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Keen Ice. Let's talk about
you've been around the block a couple times, Steve. Who's got a better behind, Kim Kardashian or Carson's Run? Come on, I was looking at the back end of your horse. That's something.
Carson's Run's behind is all natural, Bob. All natural.
Yeah, but he might not make as much money with it as she does.
This is true.
And we went up to Saratoga together, and so you get the ups and the downs, but there is no elation like the elation of handicapping a horse race and being right.
Hey, track fans, boy, do Billy and I have so many things to talk about, from movies to degenerate gamblers to horses who beat other Triple Crown horses to win this magnificent race. Billy, welcome back for our Travers Stakes 2024 episode. What do you think? I know you got lots on your mind, which we're going to get to.
It's the Summer Derby, and it's the biggest race at Saratoga. It's the oldest 3-year-old stakes race in the country. It was initiated in 1864 by a man named William Travers, who was the first president of Saratoga Racecourse, and actually owned the first winner, a horse named Kentucky. But this race outdates the Belmont Stakes by 3 years and the Derby by like 10 years.
Wow.
Ironically, in the third running of the Travers, a filly named Ruthless won the race and then went on to win the Belmont Stakes that year as well.
Speaking of Hello Dolly, we're going to talk about the Dollies. The Dollies don't always win these thoroughbred races, but you're going to talk about
far between in this one. Yep.
Well, you mentioned to me a while back about Walter Matthau and Jack Klugman were great friends. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I pulled up a clip.
Sit down and talk, Walter. My wife said, "Don't tell any toilet jokes on the."
You still remember the
Don't
earthquake
tell any
story,
toilet jokes on the Johnny Carson show. And the guy came out. One of the cops came over. And he just told me a toilet joke.
Don't do it.
I'm going to try and tell it. See if I clean it up a little.
All right.
3 old guys sitting around convalescent home. One guy says, "If I could just do number one." I mean, if I could do like a strong number one, like, not in dribs and drabs. The second guy says, if I could do a good number two, I mean, a solid one, you know, if the squeeze and it comes out, you know, it's terrible. Third guy says, I do wonderful number one, like torrential rains in Pango Pango, like the Mississippi River. He says, that's at 7:30 every morning. And 7:35 in the morning, I have a wonderful number two. He says, like Mount St. Helens. He says, this is erupting. That's at 7:35 in the morning. So the other guy says, he says, so what are you complaining about? He says, well, I don't get out of bed till 9.
Ed McMahon laughing back there. He had a great laugh, Ed McMahon. Walter Matthau was a track fan, a race fan, and so was Jack Klugman, who was his friend. Ironically, who was in the Odd Couple on TV. These two guys were the odd couple in the movie. So there's a funny connection there. And there's that old story about Jack Klugman and Walter Matthau at the track. They run into an old tout there, an old racehorse tout, an old guy who was there every day. And people who go to the track every day understand people who go to the track every day. And this guy was walking around telling Walter Matthau and Jack Klugman that this horse that he had in the first race, he loved him. He's a long shot, 30, 40 to 1. So he wheeled him in the double, which means he's got him in first in the first race with every horse in the second race in the daily double. And sure enough, the race goes off and this long shot comes rolling around to win. The guy gets so excited, he has a heart attack and drops down onto the ground. The crowd comes around and Jack Klugman's kneeling over the guy and someone says, is he alive? And Klugman looks up and says, only in the double.
Just
what a
like
way to
that.
go, though.
Endless story. But let's dig into the Travers a little bit more. This is the race coming up this week, the Travers Stakes 2024. And we're going to talk about the female element of this year's entry list. And Hello Dolly may just take the race this year. But before we do that, we have a female trainer. As you say, the horses don't know. The bettors don't know. It doesn't really matter. But Jenna Antonucci is one great trainer. She won 2 big races in 2023. And let's take a look at the one she won here.
Through a narrow opening as Arcangelo has opened up a 3-length lead. And it's the Belmont winner in charge. Disarm gets loose late and is coming with a menacing bid. It's Arcangelo and Disarm 1-2. Arcangelo, another Travers for Javier Castellano.
So Arcangelo won the Belmont.
Belmont Stakes and Travers, yep.
Yeah, so Jenna Antonucci, we've talked about her. If you don't know about her, go look at the Belmont episode in or the Travers episode. We talk about her a lot in our episode. She's a wonderful trainer and just one example of great female trainers that are starting to show prominence.
There's the Linda Rice, who's prolifically good in New York. There's Sherry DeVoe, who learned under Chad Brown, who's doing very well out on her own now. Linda Dixon is not spoken about very much, but she'll throw you a winner now and then at a really nice price. So, yeah, there's plenty of room for females in horse racing, and there's plenty of females in there. And as I've said before, it doesn't matter what sex they are to the guy betting the race. It just matters where the horse finishes.
And now we're going into the 2024 Travers Stakes with some well-known horses and some newcomers, especially a filly.
Torpedo Anna won 6 of her 7 races and was second in the other race. She could be something special. She's going to be a filly. Has not won this race in 100 years. The first few races, the first 5 Travers back from 1864 on, were won by fillies, but not since, I don't remember the date, but it's 100 years ago that The last filly won this race. Only 4 fillies have been entered since then in this race, and Chris Everett ran third, Devona Dale ran fourth, the other 2 ran nowhere. So she has a lot of history to overcome to make history, but it's quite possible she will. Her numbers are not as her speed figure numbers or track figure numbers are not as strong as some of the males in here, but that doesn't mean they won't get better. She looks like any kind as an expression. She's won with such ease and such authority that we may not have seen her show us everything yet. So I would say if you're not going to include her in your bets, you do so at your own risk. She's a front runner.
Has she raced against any of these other entries?
No, she's never faced any of these guys, but she's raced at Saratoga twice and won both times, again, with authority. So she loves the track. The distance should be fine. She's won 3 times at 1 1/8. This will be 1 1/4 miles. It's not that much further. It's what they call the classic distance, and she's working out very well. Two 5-furlong works and 59 and change. Both, that's pretty quick workouts. But she's on or close to the lead, and will be on or close to the lead the whole way around, and she's going to have some competition up there. There's 5 possible speed horses out of the 8 horses here. There's 5 possible horses that will fight her for the lead. Again, jockeys make decisions. They might decide there's too much speed in here, I'm going to sit off a little bit, so you never know. And sometimes it happens that, 4 of the 5 jockeys decide that, and one of them goes and gets away with early fractions and steals the race. If the speed does collapse, it suits Sierra Leone, the 2-horse, a Chad Brown entry, who's been coming from behind. He's lost to Dornoch a couple of times, but he was second in the Derby. He was third in the third in the Belmont, and second in the Jim Dandy. So he doesn't always get to the wire first, but if the speed breaks down, I'm sure Chad Brown has this horse ready to go, and he doesn't enter them for the fun of it. So I'm sure he looked at
This may be Sierra Leone.
This may be his day, because the race on paper sets up for him with all the speed in front of him. He just sits back and makes one run down the stretch, and he's done that a bunch of times. Sometimes he gets there, sometimes he doesn't. But maybe the 3rd horse in here, Unmatched Wisdom, who's trained also by Chad Brown, is a front runner as well, has the same kind of speed as the other horses. It's hard to separate this. I can't find the fastest one. They could all go basically, have all gone basically the same kind of pace early in their races. This horse, Unmatched Wisdom, has won 3 out of 3 times, including 1 at Saratoga, 2 at 1 1/8 miles. Chad Brown might have him in here to ensure a fast pace for Sierra Leone, but Chad Brown has been known to do that before, and his speed horse turns out to go the whole way. Sometimes it surprises him. It would surprise anybody, but this horse has the qualifications to carry his speed the whole way. So he may be more than just what they call a rabbit for Sierra Leone.
If you're a horse owner and you're given the chance to have Flavien Prat or Irad Ortiz ride your horse, would you have a preference over either one of those jockeys?
I personally like Flavien Prat better, but I would take Irad in a minute. He's probably the best jockey in the United States. He's a rough rider, for lack of a better word, so he might get you in trouble. Pratt is excellent, and Chad Brown's got them both, and he's got Irad on Unmatched Wisdom, and Irad has ridden in 292 races this year for Chad Brown, and Pratt has ridden in 228.
Holy cow!
Yeah, Pratt has a 22% winning percentage with Brown, and Irad has a 27%. So he's got probably, it's not going to be a jockey mistake that loses the race for the Chad Brown horses, most likely. Racing luck is always there, but both these guys know what they're doing. What's ironic here is Pratt was on Unmatched Wisdom in all 3 of his races, and he's been on Sierra Leone for the last 2. So it looks like he opted for Sierra Leone in this race, letting Unmatched Wisdom fall to Irad Ortiz, who might just decide you know what? I think I can win the race on the lead with this horse. So it's very difficult to throw him out. It's just very difficult to do it. But as I go on, I'm going to find out all of them are there's two horses I think I can.
Then there's Shug.
There's Shug, and Shug's horse doesn't go for the lead, but goes early, runs up with the lead. So he runs third, fourth, second. So he'll be tracking the speed.
This is corporate power we're talking about.
Shug says he's training very well and that he's looking forward to Saturday. That's about as excited as you'll ever hear from Shug. He doesn't tout, but you know, knowing Shug and some of the history with Shug at Saratoga, my heart's going to be on corporate power, and so some of my money. I'm not leaving him out. I remember years ago where Shug, I visited Shug's barn before the Whitney. I think it was 2015, and he had a horse named Honor Code running in the Whitney. And I said to him, boy, you know, you don't duck anybody. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're running against some of the best horses in training today. And he said, I don't give a about those other horses. You know, and I was like, okay, put the racing form down. I don't need to handicap this any further. Get me to the windows. And sure enough, Honor Code zipped by them all and won in the last bob. Close race, but he won the race. Great day for me, great day for Shug, and I'd like to see him repeat that. I love the guy, and I think he's one of the great faces of horse racing. His integrity is never questioned. His talent has never been questioned. He's in the Hall of Fame, and my hat's off to him and will remain off to him. So I'm rooting for him. That doesn't mean I think he's going to win, but I hope he's going to win. Next two horses, Batten Down and Honor Marie, are both long shots. Batten Down's got speed for William Mott, who does very well up there. And what's her name? Whiteworth Beckman is newer to Saratoga, very good trainer, but I think both those horses are the only two horses you can sort of toss. But again, Saratoga, graveyard of favorites.
Right. So Honor Marie is the some family line to Honor Code, who won the Travers.
Yeah, Honor Marie is Honor Code's son.
Okay.
But Honor Code won the Whitney, not the Travers. So I don't give him much of a shot, but Saratoga bombs come in. Then we hit Dornoch, who Dornoch had two clunker races in his career, and early on, after the Fountain of Youth and the Remsen, which were 2-year-old races that he won, he looked like he's going to be great. Then the Bluegrass, he faltered a little bit and finished 4th. And then in the Derby, he was up the track in 10th. He got shuffled back. He had a bad run. I wrote him off after those two races. Then he came back and won the Belmont and the Haskell, beating Mind Frame both times, beating Sierra Leone in the Belmont. Dornoch, I think, figured it out. I think Dornoch is the horse to beat in this race, without a doubt, because he keeps showing better and better. He's going to be tough to leave out. And then on the outside, here comes Todd Fletcher with Fierceness, who just won the Jim Dandy in the very good numbers. He beat Batterdown very well. He beat Sierra Leone in that race. He's Todd Fletcher. This horse looked like he was going to be unbelievable. Then he had a bad Derby also. But aside from the Derby and the Champagne back when he was 2, he's got a lot of very strong front-running type wins. So if all of these horses run to the way they look on paper, I have to bet Sierra Leone. If some of them back off, or if Torpedo Anna turns out to be even better than we think she is, she'll get there. So you can't leave Sierra Leone out of the triple because all the speed isn't going to hold up. It's impossible that all 5 horses go for the lead and they all run 1 through 5 the whole way around. That's not going to happen. Someone's going to spit the bit, and more than one of them are going to spit the bit if they all go. And again, Unmatched Wisdom, I think, is there to make sure they all do go. And Irad Ortiz knows how to do that. But if people try to get smarter or outsmart the speed or try and take a hold of their horse when the horse doesn't want to be held, anything can happen. And I don't know. Dornoch seems to want to be in front, and Luis Saez on him is a very strong rider, especially on the lead. His last two buyers are 101, 103. Those are both the highest numbers out there. I believe there's 102 for Sierra Leone, but I don't think anybody else comes up there. Fierceness has 103. But going back two races, Fierceness has 110 buyer.
Wow.
He bounces around a little bit. He's not as consistent. But he's certainly talented. And Todd Pletcher certainly knows what he's doing. So you have basically the two top trainers in the country, Pletcher and Chad Brown. Then you have Danny Gargan, who's a very successful trainer on a lower level, who has Dornoch. Then you have Bill Mott, who's very successful at Saratoga, 18% win this year, and he's been winning there for years. So he can't be left out. And then there's Shug. And again, Shug doesn't put these horses in unless they're ready. And he says this horse is training well. So since I can't separate the speed, and since Torpedo Anna is such an unknown, I don't know how I'm going to go about this.
All right. Your moment of truth. Right now, Monday, we don't have the odds. We don't have any of this business. So I'll give you a pass because I know you like to bet win, place, and show based upon odds. You like to bet your exactas and your exotics that way. But give me the horse that you're going to put $10 across the board, win, place, and show. The one horse. And then I'm going to ask you about the exactas.
Sierra Leone.
Okay, so you're putting $10 right now, Monday. We still got the whole week. We don't know the odds. Sierra Leone might be, even money odds by the time Saturday rolls around. What are you looking for in the exacta? What four horses are you going to box into an exacta?
Okay, because I look for prices, so I'll use Sierra Leone. I'll use Corporate Power out of loyalty and hope for Shug. I cannot leave Dornoch and Fierceness out. So at the end of the day, if the filly's going to beat me, she's going to do it without my money.
That's amazing. Well, it's early, and you might change your mind 17 ways till Saturday.
Absolutely. When that day, you kind of see how the races are running. I don't know if it's sloppy. I don't know if there's a speed bias. So all of this can change. But of every race I've ever looked at to handicap, this one, any one of these horses can win. I think the favorite's going to be 3-1 or 5-2. I don't think there's going to be any, 9-5s, 8-5s, 2-1s even. Well, the morning line on Torpedo Anna is 3-1. I think they have her as the favorite.
Wow.
Dornoch is 5-2 and Fierceness is 3-1. So you have three horses basically 3-1 in the morning line. Corporate Power at 15-1 and Unmatched Wisdom at 8-1. They have to assign some morning line, but those horses, Corporate Power has 5 races, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 1 fourth. His first race was 4th, but that was at 7 furlongs. The second race, they moved him right to 1 1/8. That's a big move for a maiden to go from 7 furlongs to 1 1/8, and she won that. I mean, he won that fairly convincingly over Batten Down. And then his next few races, 2 of them were in the mud.
I'm more confused than when we started. You're getting me in the mud. Hey, look.
Well, that's the theme of this race. It's the best race of the year. It'll be the most competitive race. It certainly is on paper. Don't bet your favorite numbers.
Well, we talked about the beginning of the podcast. We had Steve Boucher on there, and we brought back the clip about Carson's run and who has a better behind, Kim Kardashian or Carson's run, and Steve's response to that. But we want to tip our hats to Steve, because didn't Carson's run just win a pretty impressive race on the 11th of August?
The Saratoga Invitational at a pretty nice price. Carson's run had been basically sprinting on the turf, and Steve stretched him out there, and he loved it. So
great going, Steve.
And Steve put Keen Ice over on the. He beat American Pharaoh with Keen Ice in 2015 Travers at 16-1. So, yeah.
Keep it up, Steve. We're rooting for you. Great year ahead. and everybody have a great time at this year's Travers. Again, pick your favorite number, pick your favorite golf course. Mine is Dornoch in Scotland. You know, go for it. It's
There's
been
always
great,
a
Bill.
connection.
I'm having a very good day. Let me hear
Who do you like here, Trotter? Who do you like? Who do you like?
I'm a horse.
4-horse. Who is the 4-horse? Batten down. Who's the 4-horse?
That horse is good for taking pictures.
Corporate Power is the 4-horse.
Oh, there we go. All right. I'll see you later, Billy.
All right, man. Take care.
Why are you laughing?
Well, at least we have the laugh to add at the end. That's what happened. Somebody changed my grip, and the next thing you know, I can't do the podcast anymore. I felt like I was in the first row of the first pew at church right during the sermon.
And your brother was poking
My
you.
brother was making me laugh.